What's up, guys? Today is May 7th, 2026. Welcome to the Biweekly Chronicles, your live satirical newspaper. We're gonna do things a little bit differently this time around. My girlfriend was like, "Hey, you should start with the back page because you just got a lot more flow with your sports shit." And I would say that's probably because I've been talking for an hour by the time I get to the back page, but I'm a truster. I do like to talk a little bit more shit about sports. It's a little bit more fun. It's a little harder to be a little silly ha-has when you got like death and destruction and like the fucking Hantavirus and all this shit. And the war in Iran and the Strait of Hormuz is closed again. So we're gonna do things a little differently. I think one of our Twitter streams might have just crashed. Son of a bitch. Whatever. Fuck it. We're going with it. So doing things a little different today. For those that have never watched the show, it's a live satirical newspaper. And I get it. Half the people in this fucking world don't even read newspapers anymore, or probably never even picked one up. But I'm an old school guy, and I like simplicity. And we're gonna keep it dumb simple here. Front page, back page. That's it. There used to be a middle page. Now it's just front page, back page. Front page, back page. That's all you gotta know. Back page, sports. Front page, well, whatever be the fuck on the front page of a newspaper. You got it. It's pretty simple. Like, I promise you, on Sunday when you go, if you live in a big city and you walk by a newspaper stand, they'll have a bunch of fucking Hantavirus bullshit on there. Guess what we're gonna cover in the back half of the show? You got it. You guessed it. The Hantavirus. So without further ado, we will get things started on the back page. I kind of like this idea a bit more. I built some things with Claude this morning that looks like the server already crashed. So when we get to the front page, doing it in reverse order today, when we get to the front page around 4 o'clock, you guys will see some new shit that I built to hopefully be similar to the ticker that you see at the bottom. I have removed the topics board. It is a work in progress, but actually, fuck, I'll show you guys right now real quick. What transitions am I on? Hold on, one sec. Bad radio. We're on a quick, easy transition. So show you guys, let's see if this even works. Check it out. On the bottom right hand side, I need to adjust the amount of characters I can use, but you can see our first topic right there. Vrabel takes Insider too literally. You get what we're going at with that one. So we'll get that added to the sports ticker. But for right now, it is going to be just on the front page. So we can fuck around with that later. So if you want to know what topics we're on, you're going to have to go to a future episode or a previous episode where we had our little tiny topic board that was almost impossible to fucking read. So today, great show. You see on the screen here, I built this as Biweekly Chronicles public feed. So if you want you want to know how I get all my fucking news story because I'm a lazy piece of shit, is I built a news feed aggregator. So you can come in here, you can actually see all the different news. So you get NBA news over the last 12 hours, and you can see all the RSS feeds being aggregated in one place. Scores it based on virality and everything. So fun. So if you're, it's not that usable. It's very usable for me, but if you're interested in it, fucking it's live. biweeklychronicles.com/public/feed. So today we will get into some fun stuff. We are going to jump into the Mike Vrabel taking the role insider a little bit too literally. We got 2 underpaid athletes squared off in Austin Rivers and Draymond Green. We got Jaylen Brown tweaking out on Twitch. This is almost like a running joke at this point. That this is the 3rd episode in a row I've not removed Hormuz update from number 4. So we'll skip over that. We're definitely not talking about the Strait of Hormuz today. Then we're going to cover a little bit NBA playoffs, flopping versus old age, an ant versus an alien. I have another thing in here. May the 4th be with you. We're 3 days late on that one, so oopsie poopsie. We're going to talk about the Champions League semifinals, my Arsenal. If you're watching the last episode, I could not focus. It was live during we were up 1-0. We had 10 minutes left, and I basically was like, I can't do the rest of the show. And I cut the show, but you know what? I went 80 fucking minutes, 80 footy minutes. So like an hour and a half of talking without being that being too distracted. We'll talk about the PSG parking the bus. What was supposed to be the best game of all time ended up I actually fell asleep watching it. We got 3 back-to-back wins for the Cubbies. We got our first edition of Fuck Them Kids coming up. And then we'll flip over to the front page with a little bit of a Hantavirus update, the UFOs update that we have coming around. And then we'll wrap things up with This Week in AI, because it seems like there's new news every week on AI. If somebody hops in here and wants me to comment on AppLovin dominating the world, I'm happy to do that too. And then we got This Week in Gaming as well to wrap up the show. So great show today. Should be a lot of fun. We're going to kick things off with everybody's latest, greatest, favoritist drama. And that is the Mike Vrabel story. And I hit the wrong button, so you got a full screen of me. But fuck it, we'll start here. This was not my intention, but we're gonna ride with it. So for those that don't know, there's the latest and greatest scandal, I should say, not even story, scandal to hit the wire has been Mike Vrabel, the head coach of the New England Patriots, and Diana Rossini, some might say an insider. Mike was definitely inside her, but what I can say is she was a reporter and she has a lot of influence. She actually, she has so much influence that she has a Coach of the Year vote. So she's obviously well respected within the NFL ranks. Now, what I found interesting about this story particularly is that nobody wanted to talk about it at all. It was like it was almost as if, man, are we losing shit right now? Hold on, let me double check. Twitter is going good, going well. Nothing like having horrible grammar on a podcast, right? Let me make sure we're actually live. That's my pin show. Okay, yeah, we're live. We're good. So Mike Vrabel, him and Diana Rossini were recently caught having little finger lockies on top of a very romantic hotel that, some might say where you go with your bros on a fun little vacation getaway with your homies. Some might say it's a romantic couples destination. But I'll let you draw your own conclusions. It is a 5-star hotel. It is in the middle of fucking nowhere. And let's see if we can pull this picture up. Picture of Rossini and Vrabel holding. Don't judge my typing. So here you go. Little interlockies. Nothing too crazy, but as it stands, this is how the story broke. And I'm gonna call a little bullshit on this, right? Or not really bullshit. It definitely seems very real and very alleged, and obviously very salacious to say the least. Both Mike Vrabel and Diana Rossini are married. So before we start with the silly hee-hees and ha-has and we start giggling our booty off on this, we do gotta remember there are real people impacted, and there's kids involved, and all the disclaimers that you should say before you start ripping on somebody for slanging your schlong into a married woman. So now that we've covered the disclaimers, let's get into it. So when this story broke, it was this very small publication named Page 6 News basically took these pictures, bought them from somebody that sold them, and it was pictures, the one that you just saw with them holding hands. They were sitting by a pool. They were they were just things that could easily be seen as how do you say it, not nefarious, right? It could easily be thrown the other way. And so what ends up happening is Mike Vrabel and the New England Patriots come out and say, hey, this is outlandish, this claim, these are bogus claims, right? And then Diana Rossini's employer, which is The Athletic, comes out and says, or either The Athletic or The Atlantic, either way, it was an A name publication, pretty big enough for her to get a Coach of the Year award, or vote, not award. She then, her employer comes out and says, hey, this is nothing, this is all bullshit, yada, 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 right? But then her employer says, hey, like, privately, we're going to double check this. Like, can you, like, what was going on, Diana? Like, why were you there? And she said, hey, I was on a girls trip, right? Fair. And so, which, to be honest, if you're going to lie about something, lying about going on a girls trip is probably one of the hardest things in the world to prove if you didn't. Like, girls take so many, or sorry, should be the easiest thing in the world to prove, because girls take so many goddamn pictures, right? So her employer, obviously, or didn't we say obviously, but we're assuming here, turned around and basically said, okay, well, show us some of these pictures. You know, like, you're on this girls trip. Like, we believe you, Diana. Show us the pictures. And next thing you know, seems like the internet goes and does what they do. They obviously, somebody is out there denying something like crazy. And so if you go in full denial mode, by the way, if anything ever happens to you on the internet and you fuck up, you got to just say you fucked up. If you're not like, you're not gonna, if people are finding out when, like, you know, somebody unfollows a team, or a coach unfollows a team, or, you know, a realtor is taking meetings with a certain offensive lineman in a city, you know, like, if we can figure all these little things out, and we have all these internet mystery sleuths, if you're gonna lie to the public about what was going on, you better have your bulletproof fucking story. Like, you better have it. So what ends up happening is everybody on the internet starts digging into this deeply, right? They go and start doing some intense research, to the point that there's some, like, crazy well, let me say this, and I want to be really careful, right? Because there's the kids involved here, like, they don't deserve this. Like, nobody deserves this, right? No, I'm not gonna sit here and make a bunch of jokes about a kid, right? But what I will say is that, all right, now that we've said that we're not gonna make jokes about a kid, we should talk about what the alleged story might be leading towards. So today, or I guess yesterday, let's call it, TMZ reported on basically a boat trip that these two had went on, right? Let me find a good video for you guys. There's a few different, this is bad radio, I know, but we're gonna get you guys the right video. Okay, I'm failing at this, finding the right video. But basically, here we go. It's not even a video, it's just an article. This is what I wanted to show you guys. So it comes out that Vrabel and Rossini, while Rossini was pregnant with her first child, booked a boat together in somewhere in fucking Tennessee, right? So first of all, let's just make the joke if they really were fucking, and they most definitely were. Vrabel, if you're meeting up and you're actually slanging that schlong on this pregnant married chick, you are the dog of all dogs. I mean, Ime Udoka, you know, had top dog of dogs in Boston when he had sex with his coworker's wife. Mike Vrabel, this is ridiculous. Now, why it's even crazier? Like, let's just hope. I want to hope. Let's take the positive route that he is just some dirty dog that just can't resist Diana Rossini. And I, you know, listen, I'm not gonna judge a man. Desperate times call for desperate measures. I'm not sure. I doubt Mike Vrabel had any real desperate needs in his life, but listen, if you're gonna do it, I guess No, you're not. You should never do it. You should never do it. And this is not. There's no excuse for this. But I guess the one excuse for this would be if, and I'm a big if the kid was his, right? And so some internet sleuths went and found out that Diana Rossini, about 10 months prior to her having her child, was actually at a Tennessee Titans game reporting. And who was the coach of the Tennessee Titans at the time? You guessed it, Mike Vrabel. Now, again, don't want to make too many hee-hee-ha-has on a child that's like 5 years old. But we're going to point out some facts here. The kid's name is Michael. Say it again. The kid's name is Michael. Now, it's come out that Rossini named it after her brother, which sort kind of normal, especially if your brother's like a big part of your life. But let's put the tinfoil hat on for a second, and let's just play around with this theory. 10 months prior to this kid being born, Vrabel and Rossini meet up. 6 years later, it comes out that Vrabel and Rossini been boning, right? During this woman's pregnancy, she goes and gets a boat with Vrabes. Look, I know I just made fun of Vrabel for doing dirty on a pregnant woman. I don't think he was doing that. This was a very private conversation about Mike Vrabel Jr. And it was her probably broaching him with the idea that I'm naming this kid after you. And my backstory is after my brother, but really, me and you will know it's about you. Now, look, guys, I come from a household that didn't make it all the way through my high school years. I come from let's say, jaded background, to say the least. So when stuff like this pops up, I immediately start hopping down the wrong way. I'm gonna hop on the drama. I'm gonna love it. I'm gonna tout on it. I'm gonna laugh about it. I'm gonna tell my friends, and we're gonna laugh about it. We'll smoke a little joint or something, and then we'll giggle again. Like, this is just kind of the nature of the business, man. It's fun stuff. Now, what's not fun about this is obviously, this kid is about to have his fucking world rocked with his dad being different. But here's what I'll say. Being a bastard son to somebody that's like a king or whatever is, it worked out pretty good for Jon Snow. That's all I'll say. Like, yeah, he might have had to kill his aunt who like fell in love with him or whatever. And he also, I think, killed himself in the process, but he got to ride some dragons. So, I mean, incest with your lover or aunt that you have to murder and dragons, or your dad works for Shake Shack. I'm taking the dragons. I don't know about you guys. I mean, fuck it. It's at the end of the day, I'm not gonna make too many jokes about this kid. He doesn't deserve it. It does suck. People deserve the white picket fence, great household, whatever, But what I will say, it's not a bad upgrade as a Pops. Like, if he's assuming that Pops owns up to his wrongdoings and takes you in, you got some good genes, man. You got some good genes that are going to get you far in life. You at least be able to play football through high school, maybe get a scholarship. These days, kids in college get paid for football. Mike Vrabel in college would have made a killing. So, it sucks. Parents, you're going to have, some awkward Thanksgivings, to say the least. But hey, man, you reap what you sow in life. And if your mom's going to go out there and again do the dirty, then you're gonna You're gonna get through it. All right. So there's a couple of like good videos been circulating around. Just great little clips just to I mean, the problem. So this woman deleted her Twitter, and I do feel for her. Like, you know, but again, if she just would have came out and said, "Hey, I'm so excited. I'm sorry." Like, Mikey Vrabel's schlong was just too addicting. Like, people would have just left her the fuck alone. But the fact that they tried to deny it, the fact that they tried to run from it and be like, this isn't true, you guys are crazy. Like, when you start trying to tell people they're crazy and they're stupid, when you're the one being crazy and stupid, people they get more aggressive. They're gonna turn up the volume.
We appreciate that you came on season 1 when we were just this little baby that nobody was listening and watching. And now every single Minnesota Vikings blog listens to every episode.
I'm sure they do.
And they love me.
Thanks for coming out and spending some time with us.
I mean, I will say, like, I was a fan of Diana. I still am a fan of Diana. She had this, her personality was very, it fit well into the scheme of the Twitterverse. She was very kind of like, oh shit, hold on, let me remove this. Oh shit, one sec, guys. Main board. This is what keeps breaking my other board. All right, cool. Let's go to this.
Just put a bunch.
We're gonna go. I have some clips saved here of just like some of the stuff that Twitter has been jumping down her throat about. I honestly think it's just hilarious. So let's just jump through them. They're kind of, some of them are awkward, some of them are fucking funny.
Hyphens in there.
I would imagine that. I can tell English was definitely your best subject. If you could ban one question.
Spanish was actually my best subject.
Seriously?
Yes.
Why were you so good at that?
Because my high school football coach taught Spanish, so I took 2 years of Spanish.
Okay, so
from Jerry Reardon. That's why it was my best class.
Answer this in Spanish. What's the one question that you wish Stacey James would ban the Patriots media from asking you?
About injuries, of course.
Oh, of course. How do you say injuries in Spanish?
La injuria.
I think that's it. Your wife, Jen, is a superb athlete.
I would say used to be.
Maybe used to be, but she still got it in her, I'm sure, the way you do. So, which sport do you think Jen could beat you at now?
Just put a bunch of hyphen.
I mean, it's like a dog pissing on a fire hydrant, right? Like, yeah. It's like an act. It's actually, you know, we just watched this video. You can tell just with the charisma that these two have. I'll flag this one. Let's see what it says. Like, I think I summarized a lot of this to you guys already. But Vrabel and Rossini were more in love with each other than their other spouses. This seals it. By the way, this is all alleged. I'm reading off of some other fucking dude's Twitter, so don't sue me. A pregnant Diana Rossini decides to have an intimate getaway with Mike Vrabel. This is not some run-of-the-mill affair. There's real emotional weight. That's a lot of presumptions, by the way. A private getaway just to the two of them while she was pregnant. Is that because they were suspected it was his kid? Okay, listen. All right. This guy is just trying to do Twitter engagement farming. So, we're moving on to the next one. Now, this is, I haven't verified this, but this is what we do in the show. Somebody can call me out for this being wrong, but this is where it gets a little dicey, right? So Mike Vrabel won Coach of the Year last year, and Mike Vrabel. So there's two things that this can get a little dicey. One, the Coach of the Year vote. So if she has one vote, okay. I mean, a single vote isn't really going to move the needle. I don't know how many coaches of the year, how many people vote for Coach of the Year. Let's see. So there's 50 media members, right? So only 2% of the vote is allocated to her, which actually, to be honest, that's a lot. That's a fucking lot. It's actually, it's way more than I thought it would be. But what I was going to go with this is her being one vote isn't really all that much. Now, the thing is, this is her colleagues, guys. This is who she talks to every day. This is who she's with on a daily basis. You think, you know, have you ever fucking talked to somebody at a coworker that has a crush on another coworker? They won't shut the fuck up about them. They won't. It's the most obvious thing in the world. It's like, well, did you see what he did or this person? Like, no. Like, you just want to bone this guy. So you're going to tell me her 2% vote didn't have a heavier weight because she wasn't talking about this fucking dude all the time. That's crazy. Now, the other thing that I think is wild, and this is very speculative, but if you're paying close attention to the Eagles this past year, AJ Brown was at the center of being a disgruntled player, which, listen, it's par for the course for wide receivers. To be honest, if your wide receiver isn't a little disgruntled, he probably sucks. Like, you need your wide receiver to be a bit of an asshole, a bit retarded, a bit like Mekhi Lemon. This man is going to be incredible in the NFL. I mean, I can tell you right now, without a doubt, without a shadow of a doubt, Mekhi Lemon will be incredible. Now, AJ Brown, bit older version of Mekhi Lemon, basically. Best viewers. You know, I hate these fucking people. The worst part about this is the worst part about AI is that you're gonna get more spam calls. That's all it's gonna be. We get more spam calls, more spam chats, more bullshit coming in our fucking thing. But anyways, back to what we're talking about with Rossini. This story gets a little dicey when you start talking about her potential influence within the media. And here's a good example. Diana Rossini reported the Falcons had a first-round pick on the table for Julio Jones. And then Mike Vrabel's Titans got him for a second-round pick. She tried to do the same thing with A.J. Brown. Blow out the top off the trade early so Vrabel can get him for a discount. Now, obviously, that's speculation. But, I mean, is it really that outlandish to suggest that this woman wasn't trying to help her bone buddy? I don't know. And it certainly makes a bit more fucking stinky when she did this with Julio Jones 6 years ago. And now she's doing the same thing with AJ Brown. If you actually look, oopsie, didn't mean to do that. If you actually were paying attention to the NFL media at all this year, the number one story, not the number one story, but a big story was about AJ Brown being disgruntled. And like I said, you want your wide receiver to be a little retarded. That's fine. But it's all Diana Rossini would tweet about. It was either the New York Jets suck or AJ Brown wants out of AJ Brown hates Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts sucks. Like it was an ironic thing about all of this is Diana's husband is a huge Eagles fan. So it's like a double kick in the nuts for this guy. It really is. And you know, I'm a big believer in if something happened, it's gonna come out. And now obviously the Twitterverse is just absolutely all over this shit. Husband at home setting or nursery bed, and these two. This is them on the boat. I mean, this, I will say, just like last Thursday with the JP Morgan sex slave, you know, fish face cannons thing, the internet's undefeated when it comes to this stuff, man. It really does. And this is the last one. I mean, this is as good as it gets right here. It's as good as it gets. We'll move on after this.
Don't make.
How many? What do we? 31 minutes in about talking about this. I wanted to do like 10 minutes tops, but I get distracted easily. But we'll end it with this. This is Diana Rossini's husband right now.
Don't make a scene. Oh, no, I'm not going to make a scene. I was just told, excuse me, that my horrible whore wife has tricked me into raising two bastards for 30 years, and I'm being asked to not make a scene. Oh, excuse me. Oh, did you bang my wife? Huh? Did you bang my whore wife? Does anybody here have any illegitimate children with my whore wife that I should know about?
Jesus, Frank.
Jesus, Frank. Jesus, Frank. Jesus, Frank. Jesus, Frank. Jesus, Frank. My life is a lie. My life is a lie. Somebody's got to get stabbed. Somebody's got to get stabbed. Don't make.
By the way, one of the best shows of all time. So, listen, we'll update this story as it goes. I can tell you right now, it's very clear there's a lot of people that just want this story to go away, and we will make sure that at least we report on it when it makes sense to. I'm not just gonna beat a dead horse, right? Like that's part of why we made this show, is that the internet and the media tends to like to hop on narratives and just stick on them because there's nothing else to talk about. That's not like, we are here for the silly hee-hees and ha-has and to laugh with everybody, but then draw the line when we've laughed too much. So we'll keep up on this. We'll let you guys know how it goes when the Maury episode comes around. We'll live stream that bitch. You are the father. Now, all right, last question on this. And I made the joke earlier. Is like, his name's Michael. Mike's name is Michael, or Vrabel's name is Michael. And if this is his kid, he should theoretically be, is he not Mike Vrabel Jr.? Like, am I off on that? Or I guess you can't be a junior when you're a bastard kid. But, and just to be clear, I'm not calling the kid a bastard. That is the actual technical term for it, you know, that I learned in Game of Thrones. So, anyways, next topic. Let's get out of here. We have Camille working on longer transitions. So until then, I can go as fast as I want, but sometimes I'm still just going to be too slow. Just going to be too slow sometimes. So this week, it's been a kind of slow week in the Weiger, if you will. We got Draymond Green facing off against Austin Rivers. I put here 2 underpaid athletes because, you know, Austin Rivers kind of went viral recently for saying like about how there's like the middle class in the NBA, and you know, I actually agreed with him, ironically enough. And then I was just kind of making a joke about Steph says they're underpaid. In both of those instances, I actually agree with both of them. You know, there is like sure, it's hard to say that there's a middle class of somebody that's made $60 million, but there is a middle class. There's also a lower class in the NBA. You know, it's very, a lot of people don't talk about the difference in income. And there's very rare that you'll work in a team at any organization, a team of 5 people, and somebody that's at the top contributing a similar amount to you is making 40 times as much as you. Now, yes, everybody likes to say, oh, this is what happens with the CEO, but it's just different. This is what I mean. It's very, very different, and you're never gonna have, like, yes, the CEO makes a lot of money, but everybody around him or everybody around you is making kind of like the same cash, right? If you're making 100K, like the dude next to you may make 110, the person behind you might 90, but you're all in that same range, right? In the NBA, you could have a guy that's making $50 million a year and a guy that's getting paid $500,000 a year. Like and they have to share the same bus, share the same locker room, share the same media, and so there is like this whole idea of just class difference in the NBA that I think a lot of people don't really understand. They think you're in the NBA, you made it, you know. Like Schwarber the other day, he was on Part of My Take. He was talking about, you know, he'd made like 10 million, but he signed a $60 million contract, and you know, it's life-changing money. And I think a lot of people would sit there and be like, dude, you had $10 million. Like, you already had life-changing money. Well, no, there's a big difference between 10 and 60. I'll tell you that much. Now, and then to defend Steph Curry a little bit, Steph was just talking about equity, right? He's talking about the value, the equitable value that he built on the business. So the Warriors forever, till long beyond Steph being gone, like in 2113, they're going to be selling Steph Curry jerseys, right? So his whole point was about equity, value, when you build value within an organization. Steph is probably one of the few people that, even though he has a max contract, he's well underpaid, right? There's a lot of people that are max contracts that you could easily say are overpaid. You could give Steph 100% of the salary cap. You could give LeBron 100% of the salary cap. Those are actually probably the only two, maybe Luka. There's a couple people that are so prolific that you can give them 100%. Honestly, hate to say it, Wembanyama. And you know what's funny? I realized the other day, I was like, man, why can't I root for San Antonio? Like, I struggle to root for San Antonio. And then I was like, well, they're to name the fucking Spurs. And I'm an Arsenal fan, so that makes sense. Anyways, let's get into the next topic where I'm already kind of in it and I'm just fucking rambling as always. Austin Rivers and Draymond Green got into the latest beef. And for those that don't know, let me make sure I pull this up. The Warriors have hated, or not want to say hated. They've beefed, I will say. Where is this? I put this in the goddamn fucking thing and it's not here anymore. That's so annoying. It replaced it for me. So I had Draymond's thing. So we'll pull it up manually. I had this already booked for you guys. But naturally, let's go to first take. A little Stephen A. Smith, never heard nobody. A little Mad Dog Stephen A. I think it was like 20 seconds in.
One who reacted to Draymond's comments was Austin Rivers, who credited Draymond's IQ, but said his comments were ridiculous. This led to further back and forth between Draymond and Austin. So take a listen to this stuff, man.
And I just find it interesting that a guy who was the 10th pick in my draft, I was 35, who's on his second act, I'm still on act one, would say such things. He goes, Draymond, it's never been a scorer. Well, Austin, you and I averaged the same amount of points in high school when you were a scorer. So I don't know what would qualify Austin Rivers to speak about scoring when in high school, me and you averaged the same amount of points. And I say high school because that's when you were at your best. Austin Rivers received the biggest bailout in NBA history, in world history, in U.S. history. Received the biggest bailout in U.S. history when his dad gave him $42 million.
Easy, Tiger.
Okay. The largest bailout in American history is a little wild to say when we've done some insane bailouts. Okay. So that's Draymond. You know, if you followed along for Draymond for years, you know Draymond loves to be Draymond Green. He loves to stir the shit. He loves to talk shit. And here's the thing, like, I love Draymond, man. For those that don't know, I spent 10 years in San Francisco, early investor in our business, was in the Warriors organization. We had a box there as early as 2012. I was season ticket holder for the Warriors for, call it, 8 years. Technically, I don't work there anymore, but technically we are still season ticket holders. So I got to experience a lot of this, and credit to Draymond. He's an incredible player, and I think Rivers is right. And I think maybe Draymond took offense to this, is that his IQ is what made him the Hall of Fame player that he is. It's not because he was some like prolific offensive talent. It wasn't because he was some big dude. It wasn't because of his size. No, he was undersized. Like, dude, I think Draymond's like 6'5". People don't even talk about that. Draymond being actually, I got, hold on. 6'6". People don't talk about that. Draymond's 6'6". That's 4 years shorter than Paulo. Like, that's for a guy that runs the 5 the way he did. He's an incredible person. So, but how at 6'6", undersized, not offensively prolific, like, how are you able to achieve like Hall of Fame status? Well, you become incredibly smart at what you do, and you be in your offensive system, so that you leverage your IQ to get the ball to the right people, and then you use your IQ to create great angles and create stops, and use your strength in ways that are very beneficial. And so Draymond, for the longest time, I mean, he will be he's one of those guys where you hate him if he's not on your team, but you love him if he was on your team. Like, that's just full stop. Like, he really is. So, but now going back to the first thing I said on this, I got to watch the beef. I'll say that, the beef. And for some reason, Clay, Steph, like all these guys, I don't know why, that Rivers was just a sticking point with them. Like, it would come up in like media talk, it would come up just in random shit and whatever. It just went by the wayside. And I get it, like the Clippers at one point were a rival for the Warriors. And then that kind of went to bed. And then it was the Rockets, and then that went to bed. And, and so I'm going to defend Rivers. I'm going to let Austin respond for himself. I think Draymond's out of line here. I don't think there's any reason. Like, Rivers wasn't trying to tell you, like, you're bad at what you do. Like, he was trying to kind of compliment you. Like, you're not some offensive savant. Like, you're an incredibly intelligent person who knows that Steph Curry shooting the ball, 3 is more than 2. Like, it's pretty, that part simple, but I don't know. Let's give Austin a chance.
Come on, Draymond. This is ridiculous. Seriously. Ridiculous. But you know what? I'm going to address it because you crossed the line and you are mad disrespectful for whatever reason. You've been around too long. We both were drafted in the same class. The fact that you don't have the wherewithal to do your due diligence and actually understand I was being highly complimentary of you on the Dan Patrick Show. But it's you, and I shouldn't be surprised. You always act irrationally, emotionally immature, and your anger always puts you in hot water. So here I am having to address a video of you belittling my career. First off, Draymond, we weren't the same players in high school. I don't care about our numbers being similar. I did it at the national level, the top level. Hence why I got the Naismith Award, and I got pretty much every award you can think of in high school. I was ranked number 1. You were ranked, I don't know. So cut it out. Next.
You gotta imagine he rehearsed that fucking line in the mirror. Good shit, bro.
College, you actually were a really good college basketball player, but it's hard to compare because I was only there for 6 months. Something you could never do. Talk about I was, one of the featured guys. No, I was the guy. I led my team in scoring. I was first team All-ACC, freshman player of the year, lottery pick. Stop. Next. The NBA, hey, man.
Austin, I love you, man. I love you, but we gotta say it. We gotta say it. Like, y'all still lost to CJ McCollum as a 15 seed in Lehigh. Come on, man. The college career, like, listen, I'm Orlando guy. I've met you. You're a good guy. I would defend you through and through. I think you get a bad rap sometimes, and you don't deserve it. You can't, like, I can't think of your college career without thinking about Lehigh. Like, I'm sorry. I can't. And I love you, man. I appreciate all you do.
And you got it, Dre. I mean, listen, I played in the NBA for more than 10 years, more than a decade, but 11 years, but I'm not a Hall of Famer like you. So I'll give you that credit. All right? You got it. But let's peel back that onion and understand why. Easy, Tiger. Okay? You have the delusion, the non-aware.
Quick question. Do you think Draymond Green becomes Draymond Green if Mark Jackson never gets fired? That's a real, question. Like, because even Steve Kerr's first year, maybe I'm wrong on this, but the way I remember it is David Lee was starting, and David Lee got hurt. And Draymond was like this revelation in a way, and then he ended up getting the start. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but it's a fun does Draymond Green become Draymond Green with Mark Jackson as coach? Does Steph Curry become Steph Curry as Mark Jackson? Like, I brought it up the other day, like, Jamal Mosley is the Mark Jackson for the Orlando Magic. Like, I think the Magic made the right move moving on from him because they need their Steve Kerr. Hopefully they don't hire his son. For those that don't know, Steve's son is Nick. I'll let you sound out his full name. I'm not going to get canceled today, so you guys can do that yourself. I'm well too white to be making that joke. Anyways, back to the 2 underpaid athletes arguing with each other.
The irony of you saying I'm part of the biggest bailout in NBA history. Draymond, you were the luckiest basketball player I think I've ever seen, especially in modern day history. Let's talk about that. You were drafted to a franchise with a Hall of Fame front office, Bob Myers, Hall of Fame coach, Steve Kerr, the greatest shooter of all time, and perhaps a top 5 player of all time, Steph Curry.
Big facts. Steph Curry is top 5 player all time.
Hall of Famer. One of the greatest shooters, top 5 shooter of all time, another Hall of Famer, Klay Thompson. The Swiss Army knife himself, the guy who could do a little bit of everything on the floor, Andre Iguodala, another Hall of Famer. I know, keep up, it's a lot of talent. Not to mention one of the most lethal scorers of all time and arguably a top 10 player of all time, Kevin Durant, the same guy you chased off because of this, your mouth. You talk too much.
Chased off Jordan Poole, too.
And that's not even counting the plethora of talent around those guys. The Sean Livingstons, the Barbosas, the Andrew Wiggins, the Jordan Pooles, who you also chased off.
All right, maybe I should just let him talk.
Cut it out. Draymond, you're the backpack jump shooter. You're the guy that everyone leaves
That's actually, I mean, I'm pretty sure 2K had to do like a specific animation for him. Like,
open. No one guards you. There are hours and hours and hours of film of just you being left wide open. In fact, anybody can just YouTube or Google or watch any Draymond game ever, and he's open all game.
that's a little disingenuous.
There are clips of you getting a rebound and just driving in a straight line and just getting a wide open layup because everyone's fanning out to guard the actual talent on the team. Talking about Steve Kerr hindered your career. Bro, Steve Kerr made your career. How dare you? Coming at me? Are you kidding me? I wish I could give my son $200 million.
Wait, he actually said that Steve Kerr hindered his career? All right, that's wild, Draymond. What are we saying here, man? Like, Steve Kerr, like, maybe he believes that Steve Kerr wasn't a big part of what they were able to accomplish, but I mean, I get it. I'm just a fan. I'm a guy that just sits in the stands and fucking yells at the refs and calls fouls and travels when they never call fouls and travels in the NBA unless it's Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. But I mean, the difference between the team that Mark Jackson had and the team that Steve Kerr had was not the players. So I'll say. I mean, I guess maybe did they bring in Sean for that first Steve Kerr year? I mean, Sean Livingston was a big part of that. Those middies, I don't think that guy missed a mid-range shot for like 2.5 years. So, you know, but there's no like the flow weave Warriors offense, like the revolution of what the NBA has become was Steve Kerr implementing that with Steph Curry and, you know, a couple math nerds sitting behind a calculator and being like, holy shit, 3 is more than 2. Like, how did we not think of this before? So I think it is a little crazy. I mean, I love this drama, right? I do think it's just Draymond's past his peak. Both these guys are, obviously. Myself included. I'm the same age as all these guys. This is the funny thing. It's just a bunch of fucking 33-year-olds that has-beens. Myself included. I'm in the has-been category. Just arguing over shit. So this is where we're at. But, you know, naturally we got Draymond just on a little tirade now. And he's coming and he's going on, you know, I didn't even watch this one. Let's see.
38. Nobody wins when they're 37, 38.
You said what you said. I want to hear if he believes what you're talking.
Yeah, I mean, I think the goal is just to not look like you in the Houston Rockets uniform.
Yeah.
You know, he rehearsed that in front of the mirror.
It's
well.
ultimately the goal for us. Like, we don't want to.
What does that look like?
Did you see it?
I'm just asking.
I mean, Draymond Green, shout out. He's just I guess he's trying to be, is this the same clip? Let's see. It kind of looks like it is the same clip.
Nobody wins when they're 37, 38.
Yeah, same clip. Draymond's just going out there now. He's just talking shit. And there's nothing you can really do about it. Like, you gotta let Draymond be Draymond. I think he will be your classic go into the media 10 years from now. He'll be saying how the NBA is soft and, you know, they don't play like they used to play, like how he used to play, you know. It's but I'll say this beef goes way back, man. Like, for those have been NBA fans for the pre-Warriors dynasty, Chuck famously said jump shoot teams do not win championships. I actually find it hilarious that nobody's brought that up to him again recently. I'm pretty sure only jump shooting teams now win championships. Like, he could not have been more wrong. The Warriors went and railed off 4, right? Think about it. So, past NBA champions. Let's just go in order. I'm not going to sit here and try and fucking remember and have you guys make fun of me. Oklahoma City Thunder. I mean, you got to consider free throws, jump shooting, right? I guess flat shooting. Boston Celtics, jump shooting team for the most part. Yeah, I would say so. Dubs, yeah. Bucks were built more like the 2009 Orlando Magic, inside out. Run the ball, run offense through Giannis, but put shooters around them. Raptors, decent shooters around Kawhi, but similar to, I just skipped the Lakers. This championship doesn't even count. Nobody gives a fuck about this COVID championship, but fuck them. Jump shooting team. I hate this fucking. This series changed the face of the NBA. I want you to know that. Right here, this series. Face of the NBA. So we're 10 years removed from Chuck saying that quote of jump shooting teams do not win championships, and I'm pretty sure 8 of the next 10 at least. Yeah. We're jump shooting teams. I guess you could say the Nuggets, a little inside out. Bucks, a little bit of ball works through Giannis. Let's just say that was a very bad take on Chuck's part. Very bad take. All right, let's move it on. I was gonna do a breakdown on Jaylen Brown doing the Twitch beef, but I'm 55 minutes in now, and I'm supposed to be starting the front page now, and I haven't even got to the NBA playoff recap. So we're gonna skip the Jaylen Brown talk. I might do a full video breakdown on it. It's an interesting topic because it involves kind of new age players and Jaylen Brown streaming, right? But not only that, doing film breakdown, but then making like crazy accusations. And then, there's just, he's, I think I saw him, I bookmarked something recently. Let me see. Oh, last thing on the Draymond beef. This is actually pretty good. Can't believe I forgot this.
Portland offered me $40 million. That's why when Phil Jackson was trying to explain the goddamn triangle offense in my living room, I didn't go to New York. I went back to LA to get that bag so I could go play for my pops and I could play freely and be myself, which I actually ended up doing.
We gotta get Raymond Felton like a top-down camera, man. Like, that's Raymond. I think that's Raymond Felton. I mean, I'm my man. I mean, listen, us big boys, we gotta look out for each other. I can't do one from down there, man. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. You gotta go top down, Ray.
Pretty fucking solid as a role player under Chris Paul, Jamal Crawford. That's what my role was. That's all I ever was in the NBA, was a role player. I was never a star. So this whole thing where I'm comparing myself to Draymond and Draymond's a Hall of Famer. And no matter what anybody on this podcast, and no matter what I say or what anybody says, it's not going to change. He's a first ballot, and he deserves that because he put in the work as his role. See, there's a difference, and this is the last thing I'll say. There's a difference between being a
That's a sick Real Madrid jersey, by the way.
Star and being a star in your role. Draymond was a star in his role, one of the best at it. He talks too loose, and he talks with conceit in his voice when he tries to come at other players as if he's better than them. No. You've achieved more because you were a star in your role in a cast that Steve, the guy that hindered your career, placed you in and helped you and embraced you with a bunch of guys on a very talented team, one of the greatest teams ever assembled, that Warriors.
Austin went on his rant, and then he went home and he took a shower, and he was sitting there in the shower, and he was like, oh my God, I got like 15 other things that I forgot to say. Let me go hop on this next podcast and rail them up.
And that's why he's in the Hall of Fame and he deserves to be it. But when you start talking and how he did with Charles, or he starts talking about me, belittling my stuff, or other players, whoa, Dre. You talk about, oh, you need to play Nas one-on-one. But motherfucker, why don't you play me one-on-one, Draymond? Because you can't do no handoffs in one-on-one. You can't set no pick and roll in one-on-one. So all that extra talk is BS, and that's all my response.
Respect to Austin Rivers, man. You know, he's an Orlando guy. He's standing on that business, man. I'll tell you what, Draymond is not gonna play his ass one-on-one. He would get so cooked, it would be unbelievable. But that's because a guard versus a big one-on-one just like isn't fair with the way that these guys can shoot and the way they can handle. Rivers knows that. It's not. I mean, Draymond even still could win. He starts with the ball and, you know, it's make it, take it. But it's 3 dribbles, one-on-one, no rebounding. Rivers would be like minus 900 is what I would say. So, I mean, it's not really fair. It's not. So shout out Rivers. It's a fun little story, you know? Fun little story. So, all right, let's move to the next thing. Next on the docket, we got the NBA playoffs. So the NBA playoffs have been in full force. Fuck, this is broken. All right, well, this is supposed to show all the scores. We're gonna go to ESPN, I guess. Try not to use ESPN because, I mean, we're not ESPN. We're our own show. You know, actually, let's do NBA.com. NBA playoffs have kicked off recently. Obviously, if you paid attention last week, you fucking saw me crash out over the Orlando Magic and had me almost jump off of a cruise ship. Since then, we've had a couple good games. Since then, round 2 has kicked off. And it kind of went exactly. It actually went exactly the way that we expected it. Because we had already talked about, So we kicked off round 2 on Monday, actually. And we'll get things started with the Spurs walloped. And when I say walloped, I mean they beat the shit out of the Timberwolves last night by 38 points. I mean, we're going reverse order. Yeah, let's do reverse order. I mean, this shout out the Spurs because I wanted to go to fucking bed last night. The Cubs hit another walk-off, 3rd walk-off in a row. And I was like, well, fuck, I got to watch this. I got an episode tomorrow. I got to watch this game. And the Spurs were up by like 25 at halftime. And I was like, you know what? I think I'm good, dog. I haven't even looked at the box score yet, but it was a bit of a banger. And yeah, here's exactly what I expected. 24 minutes out of Ant, 28 minutes out of Rudy. So highest played player was Rudy on the night with 28 minutes. But the Spurs just came out. They had to get it done. It was the Wolves shocked them in game 1. This is kind of what the Wolves do. And, you know, in the weird way, I don't think, like, with Ant being not 100%, I think this is obviously I'm sticking with the Spurs, my original pick. Even if it pains me as a fucking Arsenal fan to say that shit out loud, that I'm picking the Spurs. No, fuck it. I can't do it. Fuck the Spurs. We're Wolves fans. We're barking up a storm. We're officially rooting for the Wolves. I can't root for the Spurs. I've said I wanted to. It was weird. Like I was like, oh, I kind of want to root for Victor Wembanyama, and then like I kept being like, man, I don't know why. Like I just can't. Like he's cool. He fits the fucking bill. I want to become Victor Wembanyama for this podcast, but for some reason, something inside me was like, you can't do this. You can't root for this team. And I was sitting there, dropping a deuce, thinking about what one does when they're doing it. And I was like, it's because he plays for the Spurs. It's the Spurs. And I'm an Arsenal fan. And fuck the Spurs. So, fuck the Spurs. We're Wolves fans. Now, that being said, the Wolves didn't really play really good last night. But hey, it's one game. It's 1-1. You know, you can't take the points with you. I'm going Wolves. I think so we got tonight, we got OKC versus the Lakers. So flopping versus old age. But we'll backtrack to, I'm going all over the place. I know, guys. I'm gotta stick to my script. I got my script, not even a fucking script, my order. All right, next on the docket was Knicks and the Sixers. Timothy Chalamet said, fuck the Met Gala. The Knicks are more important. And I agree, Timmy. I agree, Timmy, oh pal. I do think he like went the next night though. So it's like, is that really that cool? Like, Timmy, like, I get it, you know. Well, really, it just shows how much of a bitch Ben Stiller is. That's all I'm gonna say. Benny Still, what's up, man? Timmy Chalamet fucking didn't go to the net. You went. I get it. You got an orange tie, made of like basketball material or some shit, but not a good look. Not a good sports fan. That's all I gotta say. Bad sports fan. So, that being said, Knicks, this is probably, I know it's 2-0, probably going to be the best game of the series. I would say, shit, wrong button, guys. That was wrong fucking button. My bad. Listen, I've not been doing this much, so we're working on new transitions and shit. Working on a new outro. My girlfriend said that she doesn't like the America Fuck Yeah outro, which, to be fair, I thought of when America beat Canada in the Olympics, and I was feeling very American that day. I was like 9 Michelob Ultras deep at 10:30 in the morning on a Sunday. Don't advise that, but we were there, we were happy, and I just texted my animator, and I was like, hey, we need an outro with the America Fuck Yeah song, and, you know, this is the outro we've been using, so what can I do? So going back to this, the Knicks, Sixers, this is going to be the best series. I think you have, obviously, the Knicks whooped ass in game 1, and we talked about that the last episode. I don't think anybody expected the 76ers to do anything well at all that game. And then they came back. Embiid doesn't play in game 2, which, you know, a lot of people would say that it's obvious that makes them worse, but I don't think that's necessarily true. I think there's different game plans and schemes, and the way that they utilize Andre Drummond and the way, how do I say this? Embiid has a way to demand the entire attention on offense. And so naturally that's going to create more opportunities and different action that you can make off ball. And so you're going to run a different scheme with Embiid running, you know, he can triple threat offense basically, right? He can basically take the ball from, he takes it out of the post a lot, but, you know, you saw that Jaylen Brown clip, clapping his hands and shit, which, by the way, if you clapping your hands like that, Jaylen, you can't just have someone do a little whoop, hook over your ass. You can't be doing that. Break that down on Twitch. How about that? But no, I think this will be the best series of the series in the NBA playoffs. I think that Philly comes back and wins game 3. Like I said this, New York's going to win 1-2. Philly's going to win 3-4. Wake me up in game 5. And we get a 3-game series. Philly would be coming with a little momentum. Should be good. I will say there's a chance, though, that this could just as easily be a sweep. I'll say that much. The Knicks are rolling. We talked about our last episode. They have a lot of really great wings. They have a lot of great players. They mesh together really well. Mike Brown is an incredible coach. So, big fan of what they got going on there. On Tuesday night, we had Old Age versus the Floppers. And, you know, I'll say this. Like, OKC, like, I think they get a pretty bad rap for flopping because everybody in the fucking league does it. Now, that being said, the reason why everybody fucking hates this shit is because the last true dominant team we saw was probably the Warriors, right? Back in the teens. And it was just beautiful basketball, right? Genuinely, like watching Steph Curry play basketball was cinema. And so you have somebody that went from, the MVP shooting 4 foul shots a game to shooting 24 foul shots a game. It's just harder to watch. It's harder to watch. And then you get the compilation videos of the and, he's flying all over the place, moaning like it's fucking like he's playing tennis or some shit. Like, like it's just it's the worst. It is so hard to watch. And the worst part about it, or I guess kind of the best part about it, is that it's against LeBron. There's nothing. Oh, excuse me. There's nothing LeBron can do about it. This is gonna be a sweep. They lost the first game by 18. The next game that probably is tonight. I want to say it's actually shocking to me that they don't have the line. You'd think Terry Rozier would make sure that they had the betting line on this. That's annoying, but hey, somebody text Terry. Let's find out what the betting line is on this one. But I would imagine it's probably 13, 14 points. And, Lakers fans think that Luke is coming back. He's not coming back. Not in this series. So that series is over. I don't even think we need to talk about it anymore. If the Lakers somehow come out and win tonight and egg in my face moment, great. But I promise you, it will still just be a 5-game series. Shea could play with one hand behind his back, and I think he could still get 12 to 15 points a night. He's just that crafty. And another game we have tonight is the Cavs versus Pistons, which drives me fucking nuts because I really think it was pretty clear that the Pistons were like, oh my God, it's so nice to play a team that's not the Orlando Magic, because it just felt so easy for them. The game was never really out of hand. The Cavs played okay defense. Cade had a great game, pretty decent game at least. It was just this team, the Magic really brought out the best version of them, forced it out of them. And now you're probably going to see this team it's going to be a nice Pistons New York Knicks final, Eastern Conference Finals. But obviously Cleveland's going to come back out tonight and play a little harder, but this easily goes 2-0, could easily be 3-0 by the end of the weekend. Right? So we'll see tonight. I do think the best series of this will be the Wolves Spurs. So I think tonight's, if there's gonna be a night to do a date night, fucking skip the fucking games. Don't do it. But if there is a night, this is the night of the playoffs, that is. Because I guess the 7 o'clock will be okay, but the Thunder Lakers game, again, thank you guys for making me be able to go to bed early, because I don't want to stay up till fucking 1 a.m. watching LeBron's old ass chugging along the court. So, anyways, let's move it on in to the Champions League. So, Champions League. Sorry, guys. Again, I'm trying to get quicker. So, NBA, we're over with that shit. So now we are moving on into the Champions League. For those that don't know, we are a footy podcast as well as an NBA and an NFL football and MLB major sports podcast. Everything besides NHL, basically. And I don't know, I'm not watching cricket or fucking rugby. I don't know. If it was a final, I probably would watch rugby, actually. So but basically everything but NHL. Like I've tried it at the NHL. It's just nobody wants to hear somebody talk about something they don't really know anything about. So I'll watch to know what's going on. I'm not going to talk about it. So, well, what I can talk about is the Arsenal UEFA Champions League semifinal was this past week. Now, for those that aren't familiar with footy or how the European soccer league work, Champions League is basically the Super Bowl for football, for footy. I call it footy. If I say footy, I mean soccer. If I say football, I mean American football. So for footy, this is the Super Bowl. And for my favorite team, I'm an Arsenal fan through and through. I've been an Arsenal fan since, I don't know, since I was like 6 years old, 7 years old or whatever. I seen them go to one Champions League final. And they lost in 2006 to Barcelona. They have not been back to the Champions League since, to the final, that is. And they made it to the motherfucking final last night. Now, credit to the fans, because London was popping off last night. We started with at 3 in the fucking morning, right before the leg. See, that's just good fun. Like, can't get in and pull the fire alarm. Fuck it, we'll make our own fire. Like, it started off hot, and it came in even better. I mean, for those that watched the game, because I didn't get a chance to watch it because I was filming my last fucking episode, but I did watch the recap. If you're not really a footy fan and you haven't really get a chance, I just want you to like watch this. That's before the game even started. That's before the game started. I mean, it was just, for me as an Arsenal fan, I've been an Arsenal fan for basically my whole life. And as long as I can remember. And so I teared up. I really did. And it was because of this man right here. So for those that don't know who this is, Bukayo Saka. He's the star player. He's called Star Boy. He started with Arsenal when he was 8 years old. This man, I'm not kidding, like made me refine my love for Arsenal. Now, I lived on the West Coast from 2011 to 2020. And so if you've lived on the West Coast and you're trying to be a Prem fan, it's really difficult, especially if you're in your early 20s and you're going out and drinking on the weekends, because kickoff is at 7 a.m. And the other kickoff, the first kickoff's really at 4:30 in the morning. So during the down years, I call it the down years because it really was down years for the Arsenal, from basically 2010 through the entire time I was living in the UK, in San Francisco. They weren't very good. And so this man comes out of nowhere, or not really for a lot of the Arsenal fans, it wasn't out of nowhere, but it was pretty. A lot of time you get these kids that are coming up in the academies, the next thing, whatever, and then he gets sold off and he ends up being nothing. What's amazing about this Arsenal team is this man right here started when he was 8 years old. And then on top of that, started with Arsenal when he was 8 years old. And on top of that, Mikel Arteta, the coach of Arsenal, he played for Arsenal, however many years ago. He made a decision last weekend to start a 19-year-old lad named Miles Lewis-Skelly in place of Martin Zubimendi, who is a 27-year-old Spaniard who just, mind you, won the Euros, very well experienced, but you could tell, anybody that's watched all the games, the Martin Zubimendi that we had at the beginning of the season was not the Martin Zubimendi that we had now. And I don't know if it was just how many minutes he's played or the title race catching up to him, but there was something wrong. Like something, I want to say wrong, because there was nothing wrong with him. The offense was stuck. And so it wasn't necessarily him that was doing it, but he being in the midfield and being a major piece in the link up to the forward players felt like he was getting a lot of fault. And so this kid, Miles Lewis-Skelly, he's 19 years old. He played in right back for us, left back for us. But his natural position is midfield. And so he not played too well in the back line for us, but that was how he was getting in. But even when he would play in the back line, he'd run into this like inverted role where he'd make line breaking passes, and you could see some offense flowed through him. So last weekend, Mikel Arteta, the head coach of the Arsenal, makes a big decision, and he basically says, I'm going to start this lad in place of Martin Zubimendi in the midfield, and we're going to see how it goes. And what happens? He doesn't personally, but contributed to 3 goals, and they went 3-0. And now we're in the driver's seat in the title race. So what does Mikel Arteta do again? Goes and starts the same lineup against Athletic. So what ends up happening? Arsenal win 1-0. Miles Lewis-Skelly has an incredible game, or, pretty damn incredible, I must say. Like, I think I got some stats here. Let's see. I had so much more on this Vrabel Rossini thing saved that I just forgot to even bring up. Same with Andre Drummond too. Where is it? I guess I don't got my stats. Basically, he won 100% of his aerial duels. He had 96% pass percentage. The kid played out of his mind. And with that, we got Arsenal moving into the final. They'll play at Budapest at the end of the month. They got a lot of shit for how much they celebrated. You know what? Fuck you. If you're upset for somebody celebrating, making something that they've, first of all, never won, and second of all, this is the second time total, you can suck a dick. And by the way, PSG literally won the year before, and they advanced. Spoiler alert, in case you came to this show for the results. And even they were celebrating. So there's a ton of pundits in the UK media that for some reason hate Arsenal. And for all those people that are like, well, it's about winning the thing. It's not about you gotta win it first, mate. You can't start celebrating. Fuck you. Your team is not in the Champions League, and that's why you're upset. And you probably root for a fucking oil money team that just dumps all their money into their fucking players to try and compete. And yes, I'm talking about Man fucking City. God damn it. All right. So, great fucking result. That's all I'll fucking say. Next on docket was the Bayern Munich versus PSG game. Now, I'm not going to run through the highlights because I got demonetized. I don't even care about the monetization, to be honest. But I got taken off YouTube because of it. So we're just gonna let it ride a little bit. We're gonna let it ride. All right. So PSG, I will say, as an Arsenal fan, if you ask me what 2 teams I want to play, sure, if I wanted to play a team in the final, I want to play the worst team possible. But we know how this works. We know how Twitter goes, right? People on the Twitter sphere, not Twitter. We know how Champions League goes. And when people, you're not going to get some 3rd-ranked team making it to the finals. Like, the worst version of a team you're going to get is like, I would even, and no disrespect to Inter, but like, a really strong defensive team that's overachieving for that season. So given that, we're definitely going to probably play somebody strong in the final. If I were to pick 2 teams to pick from, it was these 2 teams. And not because I don't think they're good. Obviously, these are 2 of the best teams in the world, if not the best teams in the world. it's just the history, right? And Arsenal fans know last year in the semifinals against PSG, like it just felt like there was a seal on the net. We had so many chances last year. And so it felt like getting another shot at PSG, winner take all. It feels like Arsenal will go beat the fuck out of them. Now, so that's why we want PSG. Now, why would we want Bayern? Well, Bayern, in a way, while PSG has the history recency, Bayern has dominated Arsenal for years and years on end in this competition. So, not to mention, going back to the Spurs hate, Harry Kane is the striker for Bayern Munich. Famous Tottenham Spurs legend, right? So, I couldn't care less. Which one of these teams, whoever came out, we wanted. PSG being the winner, it does, you wish that they hadn't won it before. That's one thing I'll say, but bring it on, man. Bring it the fuck on. And the best part about all of this, guys, is that it's at the end of the month. No more weekday games. No more 3 days rest. We get a full week off between every fucking game. And then we get to play in the Champions League final. That's pretty fucking good. If I must say so myself, it's a lot of Arsenal fans have been calling for Mikel Arteta's head. I don't know why. I don't like it's like you didn't. I think there's a lot of like kind of new fans, right? And they demand success for some reason because their oil money friends have won so many trophies. But guys, we built through the youth. We acquired a handful of players, usually on a discount. We got a lot of like guys that started the rebuild. Martin Odegaard. These were people that were like castaways that weren't getting minutes. Bukayo Saka comes through the academy. Miles Lewis Skelly comes through the academy. Like we got a really fun team to root for, but naturally people are gonna hate on that shit. So let's moving on in. Next topic. Where am I at? There we go. We got a good old fashioned fuck them kids. A new segment alert. We have a new segment alert, and the segment is going to be called Fuck Them Kids. Because I get it. If you've been watching the whole episode, making a lot of jokes about people's kids, and maybe we got to dial it back. Maybe just a little bit. But for now, fuck them kids, man. Fuck them kids. So basically, Matthew Boyd, first of all, the Cubbies last night, 3 straight walk-offs. I think the Cubbies are playing right now. I'm not going to lie, I saw the ticker going. I want to see if that's actually real. Are they actually winning 8-1? They're actually winning 8-1. So the Cubs have been dialed the fuck in. They've been killing it. 3 straight back-to-back walk-offs, right? But then we got Matthew Boyd. Like the injuries are piling up for the Cubbies. And then Matthew Boyd latest to go on the IL with a meniscus injury that apparently he got playing with his kids. Now, sounds like it's going to be only a handful of weeks, but is it fair if this is Boyd's last year on his contract? If he didn't play again this season and he moved on from the Cubs, is it fair to blame the kids for the divorce? So I'll say, is it fair to blame the kids for the divorce? Because it feels like it might be. So I'll say, but yeah, fuck them kids. What are you doing playing? Hey, another one that I had last night. Do you think they have a "for the love of my kids" and clause in their contract? That's all I want to know. So some Michael Jordan joke, maybe not the best one. Michael Jordan famously had a clause in his contract called the love of the game, where he was allowed to play basketball wherever he wanted. And if he got hurt playing it, it didn't matter because he loved the game. So, not a really funny joke if you got to explain it, though, I guess. That's what we're going up against. All right, so we're an hour and a half in. That's the full back page for you guys. I was gonna jump on over to the front page, but I already did a pretty good video on Hantavirus. We got some fun updates on AI that I think I'll do a separate video on. There you go. You get to see my little ticker thing. You guys want to see it in action in the bottom right hand corner? Check it out. Ready? Boom. We got to work on the sizing of everything, but Jaylen Brown, and we got to make it look a little better too. But there's that Harmuzi update that I forgot to take out. So I'll play around with the aesthetics of this weekend. ADD kicking in heavily. So we'll do a couple videos over the weekend. We'll probably keep you guys updated on Hantavirus. I'm not really busy this weekend, so maybe I'll do a surprise weekend episode. But we will be back here next week, Tuesday and Thursday, 3 o'clock Eastern. We'll start with the back page. I'm gonna say like always, but even though today was the only one. So we'll start with the back page like always. We'll move on into the front page and cover any major topics from there. We got a great summer coming up. We're gonna be live with the World Cup. We're gonna turn into a World Cup podcast, basically. Apparently Fox is paying somebody to watch every minute of every game. I'm willing to do it for free. I'm going to do it for free. Actually, I'm not even doing it for free. I'm paying money to go to these fucking games. Basically shelling out the middle name of my firstborn child to get these fucking games paid for. But it'll be fun. We're gonna be following England around. We're gonna be in 7 or 8 different cities. We're also gonna stop in Europe in the middle of it. Wasn't my my fucking thing crashed. Well, all right. I guess I got to work on that topic board a little bit. But we got a wedding that we got to go to, so I'll figure that shit out. And then, hopefully, I think we stop in the Netherlands. Hopefully, the Dutch are still in it. Maybe we can go to some cool watch parties for the Dutch. And then we miss the round of 32. We missed the first round and a half of the single elimination tournament. Oh, no. Sorry, we missed the last game of the group stage and the first round of the single elimination portion of the tournament. Wasn't my choice, all right? But we're living with it. We got to miss that. We'll be in Europe, but good news is we'll be in the Netherlands, and I'm hoping we'll also be in Portugal. So we'll be in Portugal and Netherlands, hoping we can get some cool Dutch people, host us, do some cool interviews. Then we'll be back for the quarterfinals in Miami, and we go to Atlanta for the semis, and then we're in New York for the final. And hopefully we're watching England raise the cup. Full disclosure, you're going to see a grown man cry if that happens. So you'll see a grown man cry if England lift the Premier League trophy. You don't even need the World Cup. We do not need the World Cup for that to happen. But yeah, so all right, we only did an hour 40 today. We back page only today, and I'm fine with it. It's the end of the day. We're building something. We're building a community here, and it's gonna take a little time to get it the exact way we want it. But we're having fun. We're talking shit, and we're living out the fucking dream, guys. We really are. So, anyways, that's the show today. Thank you for stopping by. Please comment where I fucked up. Let me know I'm an idiot. Show up on the next show and tell me in real time. I'm happy to hear you tell me I'm a fucking moron, because I probably agree with you, honestly. So anyways, much love, y'all. Peace.